All right, call the meeting to order. First item is to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item for discussion is the approve the minutes from March 21st, 2019.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 21st, 2019.
I second the motion.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item for discussion, public hearing, Design Carver 2040 Comprehensive Plan.
Thank you, members of the commission. Tonight, the Planning Commission is doing the formal review of Design Carver. What's going on?
Nothing.
Yeah, the screens.
Their screens on.
Ah, top button.
Well, you know, we're not very tech savvy here.
There you go.
Okay, it's on now, but we don't, okay. Thank you.
Good? All across? Okay.
Yeah.
So tonight, the Planning Commission will formally review Design Carver, and there will be a recommendation to the City Council. The City Council will pass a resolution essentially allowing staff to submit the comprehensive plan to the Met Council for their review. So this is your formal review. We'll get forwarded on to City Council. So what is Design Carver? It's the city's 2040 comprehensive plan. The steering committee, which was the Planning Commission and City Council, felt that the 2040 comprehensive plan was a little bit clunky and not super user-friendly, hence the name change to Design Carver. So what is it? It's the vision for the city for the next 20 years. It's the 30,000-foot level. It's a policy plan, and it works in conjunction with a lot of the work that we do on a day-to-day basis, but also sets high-level policy work to ensure quality of life and quality of community. And what is in the plan? So the Met Council sets the standards for every community in the 7-county area, and they must include the same information. So those areas are land use, transportation, water resources, parks and trails, housing, economic competitiveness, resilience, and implementation. So what has the process been, or what's the timeline? So a lot of you were there on day one, starting this process in March of 2017. The Planning Commission and City Council, again, served as a steering committee. There were over 10 meetings with the group. Open houses were held on August 22nd and October 2nd to get feedback from the community. And at this point, the plan has been sent to adjacent jurisdictions, so that happened in December. So the group, I have a slide that lists them all, they have 6 months to comment. So right now, we're within that 6-month comment period. Started December, will end in June. So we're coming to the end. And then the submittal to Met Council is after that 6-month period, so anticipated June 2019. So what's included in the plan? It can seem like a lot of pages with a lot of words, but these are 2 documents that people refer to often. So it's the future land use map on the left and the constraints map on the right. So future land use shows the entire area that the city could develop to by 2040. It's not anticipated we'll get to some of those boundaries, but it could happen. And then the constraints map. So as you know, as residents of Carver, we have some interesting topography, ravines, steep slopes. So the areas that are highlighted in yellow and the blue are areas that cannot develop. So it's either too steep, it's a bluff, it's a dense woodland. So areas that will be preserved through the future land use map. Something that was really fantastic and made me oddly happy was a survey that went out as part of this plan. We had 270 people respond, and for a Survey Monkey survey that gets put on a city's website, that's a really fantastic response rate. So the information that was gathered through the survey helped set the framework for the Design Carver. We made a couple tweaks based off this information. We also got a lot of information that has guided a lot of the planning work that we've done since the survey came out. So people's interest in more uses in the community, sit-down restaurants, some services, also a focus on housing for everyone. So thinking about people at every stage of their life and allowing them to live in Carver with the choices that we make. So as I mentioned, the adjacent jurisdictions that are currently reviewing, this is the list of them. We've received formal comment back from one group, which is the Minnesota Department of Transportation, and that was a waiver saying they did not have any comments. So the next steps. Tonight, the Planning Commission is required to hold a public hearing. It was published in the Chaska Herald. You will forward on to the City Council for their review May 6th. At that point, once the City Council has that resolution and the 6-month comment period is over, we'll be able to submit to the Met Council in June. At that point, the Met Council will review and send their letter back. So Met Council's really busy right now, reviewing a lot of these plans. So I don't anticipate that it's going to come probably July, August, September, but next fall we'll likely get a comment letter back that will need to react and revise. So based on that review, adoption is to be determined. So once we work through the Met Council, they say that we've met all the requirements, we'll be able to formally adopt the plan. So that is what I have for you right now. I'll ask that you discuss, open the public hearing, and then we can talk through a recommendation to the council.
Okay, well, excuse me, we will now hold the public hearing. As a disclosure, those wishing to address the Planning Commission should come forward and state their name and address for the record. After all comments are received, the public hearing will be closed. No further comments on this issue will be received at this time.
We should make we should make anybody sitting in the audience have to come up and make a comment, even if it's good job. Well, I'll make a comment. There were 10 meetings, and there was a lot of work done in those meetings. A lot of work. So this is a pretty good product. It's what we came up with, and I'm really pleased with it. So that's my comment.
Thank you.
I'll make a comment as well. I actually reviewed that as part of my planning commissioner trying to get the job and for the city council. It was a very impressive document. I compliment Erin on her good work and the existing commission members that were here before me. It was very, and if you're watching at home, it is on the city website, and it does have a very detailed, it's very readable even for non-political or technical people, so.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. I've seen 2 other comprehensive plans, and this is the most readable, most user-friendly one we've ever had.
Thank you. That was a goal.
You did it.
They do.
Well, if there's no further comments, we will close the public hearing. I have a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any further discussion regarding the design Carver? Any questions?
I move we recommend submission of the design Carver to the Met Council.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, next item, Meadows at Spring Creek, Phase 2 final plat.
Thank you, members of the commission. Tonight we're reviewing 2 final plats back to back. So the slides and content are going to look pretty similar. Your review also will be similar. So thinking about Meadows at Spring Creek, the process for this project began February 2017 with a concept plan reviewed by council in March. The preliminary plat went through last spring, April and June, rezoning again May and June, and tonight we're reviewing final plat of Phase 2. So a little bit of context about where we are. So we are just east of the Spring Creek neighborhood, south of Old 212, off of Spring Creek Drive. This is the Meadows at Spring Creek site. I shamelessly stole this from the MI website this afternoon, but it shows the neighborhood layout, including lots that have been sold. So the red homes that are ready to move in are the green. Primarily the ones that are gray are the lots that we're seeing tonight for Phase 2. So they have not been platted at this time. But as you can see from this diagram, it appears that sales are going well, hence why they're likely back for Phase 2 so quickly. So this is what phase one looks like platted. So if we think about that technical platting document, these are the lots that exist today. So the ones that are open for construction, available for purchase. So if you see there were 74 lots in phase one, 77 in phase two. It's a mix of single-family homes and a villa product. So you'll see the smaller lots along Spring Creek are a good example of what the villa lot looks like. Some of the larger lots south in the property are a good example of what the single-family lots are size-wise. So the rezoning for the property came through for the entire site. So this site was rezoned to an R2 PRD. So the PRD, or the planned residential development, largely had to do with that villa product. So they requested a reduced side yard setback to allow that villa lot to be more accessible. So PRD, the single-family lots throughout the development do meet the standard R2 zoning. So it's the villas that triggered that PRD. So again, the entire site has been rezoned already. The public hearing was held by the Planning Commission, reviewed by City Council. So here's the technical platting document that I often talk about. So this is what phase two looks like in the final platform. So probably doesn't make a lot of sense without some of the context, but shows the general layout of the remaining 77 lots, bringing Meadows at Spring Creek to the total of 151 total lots. So the landscaping plan was adopted at the time of preliminary plat, so nothing here to review, just something that's FYI, something that you often look for thinking about the site. You'll see on the bottom there is extensive buffering along the rear yards, and then each lot additionally does have an overstory tree. Also shamelessly stolen from the MI website this afternoon are some examples of what the homes look like. So if you've driven through recently, there are several under construction, several that are already complete. So as we continue, you'll start to see more and more of these. Todd Cushman is here tonight with Trinity. He was part of the development team if you have specific questions. There were not any significant changes from the time of preliminary plat to final plat. So nothing major that we need to review collectively as a group, generally conformed to the plans that were previously adopted. I will open it up for discussion. No public hearing tonight, just a recommendation.
If I remember, there was a short gap in the sidewalk along Old 212.
Correct. So the trail connection to Mount Hope, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
So that is on private property, but we are working to connect that, just knowing how many people will be in that neighborhood as an extension to downtown. So it's not part of the development since it's off-site, but it's something the city is actively working on.
okay, thank you.
I had a general question about the about the park fee. Is that set by statute in the city charter, or is that negotiated with the developer if they're not?
Sure. So the park dedication is set by city ordinance. That amount is. Depending on where the development is and if we have plans for a park in the future, we can either have the conversation seeing if we want to take that fee or if there's acreage that we would like instead. In this case, it was just the fee. We didn't have a park programmed for this area, so the park dedication is coming in fee in lieu of land.
Okay.
Just a quick clarification.
Sure.
I thought you said phase one was 74 lots and phase two is 77.
Does
Looking
that
at the
equal
notes,
151?
looking at the notes, it looks like phase one was 77
Oh,
and
that
phase
could
two
be.
is 74.
Todd, can you confirm which way it is? Okay. So I had the numbers right. Just looked like
Just-
Not quite 50-50, but okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Does the price points of the houses fit into where the comp plan is, design Carver?
So Design Carver doesn't contemplate price point necessarily. It primarily works with densities.
Okay.
So yes, it does fit there. This is something the villa market isn't something that's hit in Carver quite yet, but Oak Tree and now Meadows at Spring Creek will have that new product. So it's an interesting addition to our housing stock.
Okay.
Could you maybe explain what there's between a villa, single-family home, and a regular single-family home?
And I will say villa is kind of a trendy marketing term right now. So villas are typically smaller lots, typically managed by an HOA. So trying to hit that empty nester that likely doesn't want to do snow removal, lawn care, typically just a smaller lot. Most are one level, but there is an option on floor plans to add the second. Thank you.
So are they selling as fast or faster than you had hoped? All the products up there, any one selling better than the other?
I'm with the development group.
Oh,
MI
okay.
Homes is actually the home builder on this site. I think they're pleased with the traction they have had even before the parade, and now with the parade going through, I think they're very happy with both the single family and the villa product.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
None?
Not for me.
May I get a motion to recommend approval of Phase 2 for final plat of Meadows at Spring Creek with conditions the Planning Commission recommends?
I'll make that motion. Well,
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks, Todd.
Next item, 5.2 Meridian Fields, Phase 2 final plat.
Thank you, members of the commission. Again, it's a Phase 2 final plat. So really similar information. This time Deb Bridgeway is here with D.R. Horton if you have specific questions. So where we're at in this process, this project started a little bit later than the one that we just reviewed. February of 2018 was the concept plan. We worked through several processes for this one. Annexation was a big one. A comprehensive plan amendment was required. If you'll remember, Monroe Drive was a pretty big hurdle that we accomplished with this project. Thinking about that intersection and then construction of the street, that if you've been on Jonathan Carver Parkway lately, it looks pretty different every day depending on where the machinery is at. So tonight again, we're reviewing Phase 2 final plat. So some context of where we're located. So north of the elementary school, south of Highway 212, west of the United Properties piece, north of the Song Farm. Some development details about Meridian Fields. So this one is a little bit interesting thinking about the way Carver has developed recently, that they hit straight zoning. So a planned residential district was not required. They were able to hit the straight R2 zoning district of the city code. So that information includes the minimum lot area, which is 7,000 square feet, minimum lot width at 60 feet, front yard setback at 25 feet. Dang it, I didn't change this. The rear setback is 20 feet and the side is 7.5. I caught that at the first time I presented this slide.
It would be a big side,
Yeah. So again, hitting that R2 districts that is in our city code. So here is one of the pretty pictures that was included. So the red dotted line was Phase 1, orange highlights Phase 2. So the lot breakdown of this one is 36 lots in Phase 1, 47 in Phase 2, for a total of 83 single-family homes. This is what it looks like platted. So Phase 1 is in. They've started construction. I believe that they have a foundation in on their model, so things will start to look a little bit different on that site. So that's what it looks like today before this final plat moves through the process. And here's the beginning of that technical platting document. So it's 2 pages on this one. Something to note, a change between the preliminary plat and final plat. You'll see some of these lots look like they've grown. So several of the lots have some conservation area that will be protected by an easement within the lots. So they'll be signed showing the property owner before they move in that there's a conservation area in your backyard and that you're not able to manipulate it much beyond just enjoying it for what it is. So a few of these lots look like they've grown since preliminary plat. They have. It's for that conservation easement. Again, the landscaping plan is included, not for discussion tonight. It was approved with preliminary plat, but this one also had a lot of discussion about 212. So thinking about buffering, the amount of trees that would be needed. Also, the property to the east of Meridian Fields, which is United Properties, which is slated to develop commercially. So something that was important to phase one in Meridian Fields as a whole was that landscaping. Making sure that landscaping goes in before the gas convenience user might at the United Property site, just to make sure that the people who live in Meridian Fields early don't have adverse impact of 212 and the commercial user. Some examples of what the Meridian Fields neighborhood will look like. It's D.R. Horton's Express Line. This is D.R. Horton's first development in the city of Carver, so it's a new developer, a new product type. So again, Deb Ridgeway is here with D.R. Horton if you have specific questions. Again, no public hearing, final plat for phase 2.
I have a question.
Sure.
I've only been on the planning commission since March. So I'm just curious about the naming of the roads, especially Dewalter Circle,
Oh, sure. That's a good point.
because I was just wondering if it's going to be confusing since we have a Dewalter Drive on the north side of 212.
Today we do.
Oh, it's
So-
going to be changed?
Yeah, at the May 6th
Oh, is this a
council
placeholder
meeting,
for Dewalter?
It is. So,
Okay, that makes sense.
Cindy's referencing the little chunk of street along the Fleet Farm gas station, so that's called Dewalter today. With the Lakeview project, the street north of Levi Griffin was named Commerce Drive, so we'll be renaming that southern leg Commerce. We felt it was important to keep Dewalter since it's a historic name and slid it to the Meridian Fields
I like that it's been
development
made a circle now, too.
instead of just a little stub.
Okay, that makes sense.
I thought you were going to ask how Monroe Drive was named.
I have
I got
I don't know
questions about
anything
that
about Monroe Drive.
I just, some clarification on the buffer zone, is that, the conservation area, is that bordering the park, by the school, or is that on the northern side by the 212?
Sure. So the conservation areas are off Dewalter Circle. So if you look at it here, it's the lots that are extended pretty far. And then I'll go to the picture so you can see. So it's a few of the lots here, Reed. So overlooking this wetland, and then there are a few here. So it's essentially this green strip here, some up here, and then areas here. So nothing directly adjacent to the commercial property or 212.
Sure. And then, if I'm getting my bearings correctly, the school and the other city park are down on the bottom edge of this map.
Yep, so it's here.
Yep, okay.
Any other questions, discussions? I will then set motion to recommend approval of Phase 2 of the final plat for Meridian Fields with conditions the Planning Commission recommends.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Yeah, well,
Well-oiled machine here.
yeah,
Next item, any...
Thank you for coming.
thanks.
Next item, any type of communications?
I can't say that I have any.
Not about the Jonathan Carver Parkway meeting on April 30th?
Yes, that's a good one. So the original meeting for the Jonathan Carver Parkway open house was April 11th, which was the nasty snowstorm. It was that last Thursday. So the meeting is rescheduled for April 30th, held at the elementary school for the Jonathan Carver Parkway Corridor Study Open House. So if you're interested, have comments, questions, concerns, that's a great place to be. WSB, the consulting engineering group working on that project, will be available. Yes.
What's the time?
Tuesday.
6:30, you think?
I can confirm that. I would check the city's
Yeah, I
website
can
to be
check.
definite.
6:30.
6:30 is correct. Thank you.
Any other discussions? Questions?
Don't forget Easter egg hunt this Saturday at Community Park,
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Sharp.
Sharp.
And it runs till about 10:05.
10:05. Yeah. The kid literally running kids for
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll motion then to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.